Alan, it's a good thing you don't have Tourette's.
Damn.
It's a good thing. I'm grateful for that. But we saw the controversy over John Davidson, who was in attendance at the BAFTAs for the film based on his life called I Swear, a film which you gave a very positive review to, having seen it at the Palm Springs Film Festival.
Yes.
And the controversy over the BAFTAs was over his use of the N-word during the ceremony that he was in attendance when Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo came out to present an award. It was an unfortunate circumstance that, well, look, the people to blame for this situation really are the BAFTAs, but in addition, people's ignorance about Tourette's, which the entire movie is about. Well, John Davidson gave an interview with Variety, and we've got some quotes here. It says, he gives his first interview, explains Tourette's tics after shouting N-word and other slurs at BAFTAs. I felt a wave of shame. But Alan, can you give us what else is in this story in this interview?
Let's see, I'll move down a bit, but Davidson says he reached out to apologize directly, emphasizing the emotional toll of the incident. I can't begin to explain how upset and distraught I have been as the impact from Sunday sinks in. He left the auditorium voluntarily to prevent further disruption and watched from another location. Davidson stresses that media stereotypes distort public understanding of Tourette's. His specific condition, coprolalia, involves involuntary obscene language, but only affects 10 to 30% of the people with the condition and is not a criterion for diagnosis. He explains that the real struggle is not the tics themselves, but public reaction. The real challenge isn't the tics, but the misconceptions surrounding them, he says. He has almost no ability to suppress his tics, especially under stress. He compares suppression to shaking a bottle of soda until pressure forces an explosive release. At the ceremony, rising nerves escalated his symptoms. The more nervous I got, the more my tics ramped up. Davidson attended because I Swear received 6 nominations, and he felt he had as much right to anybody to attend as anyone else. He says BAFTA indicated that swearing would be edited from the broadcast. However, he questions whether more could have been done, especially since he was seated far from the stage near a microphone. He assumed his voice would not carry to the stage. He only realized presenters could hear him when Jordan and Lindo appeared to react. Davidson described the BAFTA incident as an amplified version of his daily life. He reveals he previously been violently assaulted due to his tics, underscoring the danger and stigma he faces. Public reaction since the ceremony has now shown how persistent misunderstanding remains. Comments like, I wouldn't say these things unless I thought them, are deeply unsettling for me. Davidson asked journalists to avoid certain terminologies. Specifically, he prefers Tourette's to be described as a condition and not a disability.
Yeah, this whole thing is sad all around. I didn't know that they had seated him farther away, assuming he wouldn't be as close to the mic.
Yeah.
But look, I think the airing of it, which I guess included some they edited out and some they left in.
Well, one they left in.
That seems very suspicious to me, Alan. But we've seen a lot of it's blown up on social media. Even people coming after me to saying that, like, my whole thing was he has a right to be there. Absolutely.
He does, yeah.
But they could have done more to mitigate. And they certainly didn't. The people who really failed in this whole situation were the producers of the show, which might not even be the BAFTA organization, right? There's a difference. There's an organization, then there's people who make a TV show. And I feel like a lot of the ignorant comments have just made this like even worse. I will say though, like I guess he has an organization that is a charity that he there might be a silver lining to this, more attention and understanding in the end.
Well, technically, the movie was that. I mean, the movie brings out the
right.
organization he created. That's the third act of the film, of turning lemons into lemonade here. But look, I think to the BBC's credit, or to whoever the organizers were, they let him in the room because it was his movie. It was nominated for 6 awards, including Best Picture, Best Actor. He had the right to be there. And I think the best explanation or the best summation of this was that I heard was it's not that easy of an answer. You know, it's like, I definitely feel like you're screwed no matter what you do.
Right.
And I think that's the case here. But my point is, if there's anyone who should be defending John Davidson, it was everybody in the room at the BAFTAs. Because as you know, if you're a member of the BAFTAs and you're a voting member of the BAFTAs, you had to have seen his movie. You have had to understand the trouble and the stress he goes through. You have to understand that everything he did during that ceremony was normal for him. And the idea that the N-word is the worst. Well, one thing that no one's brought up is in the movie, John Davidson was on trial to go to prison for an outburst he made. He was on the verge because the judge didn't know anything about Tourette's and was almost going to throw him in jail. But his lawyer was good. He had a good lawyer who got him out of it, and that lawyer was black. And in the movie, guess what word John Davidson used, screamed at his lawyer constantly? Chris, tell me what that word would have been.
Would it be... I'm not going to say it.
I mean, so even the N-word, people would have understood that he would have said that because it was in the movie that they were supposed to have seen. Wow. And so, it's just a sad situation that we can't find any empathy. I get it. It's a horrible word, but honestly, I hear that word half a dozen times on Sirius XM on the hip hop channels. So
a slow motion eulogy for the TV industry. Alan, I know you have the story. I'll bring it up. Give me the highlights.
Okay. NBC ordered 8 pilots recently, and ABC and CBS added 2 each. That is a noticeable bump after years of decline. In 2024, networks ordered only 5 pilots total. In 2019, they ordered 66. The traditional pilot season created short-term chaos, but steady work. Sound stages were busy, writers' rooms were staffed, and even failed pilots created career opportunities. Traditional television is shrinking. CBS canceled The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, ending a decades-long franchise. Daytime talk shows from Kelly Clarkson to Sherry Shepherd are ending due to declining ratings. Fewer cable shows now draw 1 million live viewers weekly. Streamers like Netflix, Hulu, and Tubi are leaning into video podcasts and lower-cost programming. Free streamers such as the Roku channel and Pluto TV now account for 6% of U.S. TV use. Streaming now represents nearly half of all TV viewing. The peak TV boom created massive output, but shorter seasons, reduced staffing, weakened the industry's middle-class workforce. Potential mergers involving WB and Paramount threaten further job losses. AI technology could reduce human involvement in production even more. The pilot season revival offers a small sign of life, but traditional television as a stable, labor-intensive ecosystem continues to contract, with commerce increasingly outweighing creative infrastructure.
I think the biggest thing that people don't talk about in this topic, TV, is the feedback loop with the audience, right? You would make a pilot and get feedback from the studio. You might even remake the pilot. In the case of Game of Thrones, they recast most of the people on Game of Thrones and made another pilot. They developed shows, and what they did was you would get an order for 26 episodes. You'd start making them and then airing the episodes. And as the season evolved, you might make changes mid-season. Maybe a character with a big bit part would be elevated to a series regular. You would take feedback from the audience. And how does feedback from the audience work? Even before the internet, feedback came in the form of ratings and letters or comments from viewers. And that feedback loop that came to writers from the audience that either loved or loathed the shows, I would argue, made the shows better. But now with streaming, you'll make an entire season of a show, and without any feedback from audiences, you just air the whole thing. No feedback loop. Or in the case of Starfleet Academy, you're shooting the second season before the first season even airs. This feedback loop, and I haven't seen anyone, no one has discussed this. Not any of the trades. Except us. Like, that feedback loop that was part of the ecosystem of making television is gone. It is what's hurt TV. The feedback loop, the audience was a part of the process. They're gone. It's let's do 6 of these. Let's do 10 episodes. Like, wait, what? You need ratings and audience feedback to see how your show is doing. Otherwise, you're spending what, 8-10 million an episode for Starfleet Academy? It's horrible. Alan, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, to add to that, television, even as a medium itself, is dying because we have this on-demand nature. Remember decades ago, 20, 30 years ago, television was appointment viewing, meaning you literally had to arrange your schedule so you could be at home in order to watch a television show. I remember Lost was that way. Thursday night, we were always home. We would never go out, and we would sit there and watch Lost, see what happened. And that model has gone anymore because, I fell into it. I don't watch live television anymore. I just wait for it to come on Hulu or wait for the next episode to come on Paramount Plus or whatever. So I think there are 2 or 3 realities here. One is, it's the quality of the shows. The fact that they don't get that feedback, the fact that that they're blindly pulling together 2 seasons without even seeing it. And the other thing is we've been accustomed and conditioned to watch television shows on demand. What's that show everybody likes on HBO? The Night of Three Tails.
Night of the Seven Kingdoms.
Night of the Seven Kingdoms. I mean, look, there's no way I was going to watch it every week. I can binge it now. There you go. I've been conditioned.
You can watch the whole thing.
Part of the problem, yes.